Let's try this again now that the train's passed. First video with the new phone, because my old phone tried its best, but it just couldn't make it anymore. I shot this last Sunday. It's Tuesday now, and my phone was just not having it, so trying again. This past Saturday, Fallon, Metz and I were at Sherma Con at the Sherman Theater in Northeast PA. Thank you, Jacob, and the whole Sherman Theater crew who invited us up and treated us so nicely. We had a really, really good time. I got to meet some cool people. I kind of miss doing cons. The year that the year that I was at Screenwave was COVID, the first year at least, and there were no cons. And except for the Redhead and I went to LA in October of 2020 because our film played at the drive-in, the Joe Bob's Haunted Drive-In. So we flew out to LA for that, and it was super cool. Except for literally as our short was about to play, the Dodgers won the World Series, and the drive-in was really close to Chavez Ravine, which is where the Dodgers play. So like right as our trailer was coming up, fucking fireworks and shit. So people were less occupied about what was going on. That's just my luck. That's a Newt thing, you know. And then in 2021, we did a couple cons, but I got Bell's palsy, so didn't really get to enjoy those very much. But after I kind of had a nervous breakdown and all that lore you guys know already, we did we did the AC Horror Con, and we did VHS Fest twice and stuff like that. So we did a couple cons, and I like doing them. I like getting a chance to talk to people. I like getting a chance to talk to people who know us already and are obviously fans, to placate my own ego. But more so, like I like shooting the shit with people who've never heard of us before, and maybe our tastes intersect, or meeting other artists, writers, craftsmen, shit like that, who do things that I can't do, and it's cool to meet them and see where our tastes in horror intersect, and yeah, no, it's fun. But at the convention this weekend, I got to meet the writer Gina Stell of the Hope series, and she gave me 2 of her books. So if you look up Gina Stell, that's her name right there. You see, there you go. And her Hope series, but she gave me these, and I've been going through them. I like a good post-apocalyptic sci-fi fantasy thing, and these have like the Road vibe to them almost. And then I also met one of the guys from Grave Reviews, which is another YouTube review show. If you look up Grave Reviews, is their icon is a skeleton watching a TV. So check them out too. So Gina Stell, the Hope series, and then Grave Reviews on YouTube. Grave Reviews came to our panel, which was a lot of fun. We had 15 people out there, and it was Fallon, Metz and I didn't know if anybody was going to show up really, because I'd never heard. I knew of this theater. I'd never heard of this con before when Jacob reached out to me, and so I wasn't really sure what to expect. I see last year was pretty well attended. This year looked like it wasn't as attended as last year, but there was also like at the same time this weekend was like WrestleMania and the Philadelphia Tattoo Convention, and a whole bunch of other stuff was all going on, so I get it. But we had 15 people out at our panel, and we just made it up as we went, and we told stories of us all working together, and movie theater stories, and Fallon stories, touring Japan and being in a pretty big band back in the day, and talked about making movies and the type of nonsense that we talk about on this channel. And it was fun because it went from like, that kind of nonsense to like, telling people like, go make your art, and like the Kevin Smith kind of like, it costs nothing to pat an artist on the back kind of thing. And not like what I do is art in any way, shape, or form, but just the idea of, telling people that if you do something, there are people out there like you who are into the same type of nonsense that you're into. And eventually, thanks to social media, which, social media is like the worst thing that ever happened to humanity, but it's also kind of the best sometimes too, because it makes you realize that you're not alone and there's other weirdos out there who like, ghoulies and shit like that. I am excited though for the day when YouTube finally the bottom falls out and a lot of these fucking people have to go get real jobs, and because I've met a lot of these people and I'm just like, what could you do, outside of watching the same movies that 20 other people have already done this month, and then talk about it and make your video longer than the actual movie, or give the most minimalistic reviews of a video game or something. Like, what is your other skill? YouTube's terrible. YouTube ruined an entire 2 generations now of people. But I'm here, but I have no discernible skills. I'll talk about stuff, and I was telling the dude at the Grave Reviews guy, I was just like, he's like, well, how do you get people to watch your videos? I was like, oh, well, first thing you got to do is plagiarize and get made fun of by Reddit and Red Letter Media and I don't know what the other dude's name is who made like the 3-hour long documentary, but like do that, and then people watch you out of curiosity to see if you're gonna spill the tea or just to make fun of you. So that's a good place to start. I got lucky. I got to be like in that second gen guys, like when we were doing Underbelly. It was like after the Nerd and Doug Walker and people like that. Then we were doing like, so I think we started on Screw Attack and then like went to the next new networks and then Normal Boots and stuff like that. And we just kind of like went to all of them as we were failing upwards. Not really upwards. I guess we had a couple that did okay, but there really is no it was more of a Wild West point back then where you could get people to watch you if you're doing stuff, if your thumbnails were interesting and all that. And now it's just, I don't really understand it anymore, nor do I want to. Like, I was all weekend we were talking about, like, again with YouTube falling apart, I'm more interested in like making my own art than talking about someone else's. Like, I get not bored, but kind of like apathetic about it all. Like, I love talking to people. I had so much fucking fun this weekend just shooting the shit with people and joking around and and stuff. And it was cool that some people actually knew who we were. People bought the comic. I sold 10 issues of the comic. That was pretty dope that people got it. And then everybody who got it, like, they told me after the fact that they'd read it and that they really dug the first issue and they can't wait for more. And I got some news before the con that we should have issue 6 out by this summer, and then done by this summer, and then we'll release all 6 then. So that's a first, the first good step forward for Florida Man. But so we had 15 at the con, we sold 10 comics, and then we had 20 people subscribe to the channel. So all in all, I saw it as a pretty fucking cool weekend to hang out with my friends. Metz got to talk about wrestling with people. People got to look at pictures of Fallon being sexy, and then watched as Fallon abused me in front of people, just slapping me with a meat stick. Now I'm sure there's a lot of dudes out there who would pay good money to get slapped in the mouth with Fallon's meat stick, but I've been abused by enough beautiful women over the years. But I'm looking forward to next year. I told them, invite us back next year. I only got one chance to walk around the convention and see what they had there. A lot of old video games, toys, a lot of Japanese candies and shit like that. One dude was doing 3D printed wine toppers. They were really, really cool. And I don't have any wine here. But if I did, there was a Dark Knight Returns Batman one that I was like, oh, that's really cool. But he does all of his own 3D printing and painting with his wife and stuff. And I spent a while over there looking at stuff. I didn't buy anything because I try not to buy anything at conventions. I try to except for feeding everybody and stuff. Like this weekend, I forgot to eat and drink. Metz bought me chips and I just forgot to eat them. And now you're gonna say like when I'm about to say like it takes a lot of energy to be on for 12 hours, you know, to be like in cell mode. And I'm sure you're gonna watch this and go, okay, pussy, whatever. Like try digging ditches or whatever. And it's just like, no, I get it. I understand how fucking stupid that sounds. But like, you know, from not doing it for a while and to not be properly lubricated and all that stuff, I definitely I was kind of worn out by the end of it, and you know it constantly singing for your supper, trying to get people to come over to the table and look at your stuff and all, and but this coming weekend, Metz and I believe Madeline will be joining us as well, will be in Akron, Ohio for Monster Fest Mania. So I'm very, very excited about that. It's going to be a lot of fun. There's going to be some other guests like Morgan, who did Triple Xmas with me, and Lisa Neild, who did Swamp Zombies 2 with me. So, and, you know, like other celebrity guests and stuff like that. So we'll be there. I'll have copies of Florida Man. I'll have copies of not Velvet Rope, I'm sorry, Coney Waves with me. I'll bring the Jaws Ferratu puppet. And I don't know. I'm excited. I mean, I'm. It's always fun to get out and get to do these kind of things, and I'm always so fucking grateful to be given the opportunity to come and be amongst fellow miscreants, you know. And I do genuinely miss being part of the horror community. You know, I spent a lot of time writing stuff for other people and kind of trying to stay in the limelight as much as I can, but also be aware of how I look to people, so trying to stay over here as well. But it's cool that when cons reach out to you and say, do you want to come do this? It's like validation, and all my shit is like, just tell me I'm good and smart, please, because my parents didn't when I was a little kid. Like, fill up my cup, please, of confidence that I can't do myself. But it's fun and it's cool, and I like that Metz is becoming part of it as well, and is starting to find their own people as well who are drawn to them. And you know, that's my whole thing, is just dragging my friends along, even kicking and screaming, into my bizarre world, and then introducing them to anybody who gives a fuck about what I have to say, and then kind of strengthening our numbers through that, you know. But I just wanted to do a quick, you know, a quick little pop in about how Sherma Con went this weekend. You know, I can't thank Metz and Fallon enough for coming to hang out with me for the day, even though they both, you know, got to do stuff and be involved and all that. It's cool when your friends are like, yeah, we'll come fucking hang out with you in Northeast Pennsylvania and you know, and you know, talk to strangers. And Jacob and everybody at the con for inviting us. It was super nice of you, and I was excited, and I had a lot of fun at the panel. I think the panel was my favorite part of the day. I just love telling stories and just making up the thing as we go, and bouncing off of those two was a hell of a lot of fun as well. And taking questions from the audience, and then like people asked us to sign things. And I always get weirded out by that a little bit, because, like, you know, I feel like if I sell somebody my comic book and they're like, oh, can you sign it? It's almost like my grandmother used to say that. It's like, oh, this is going to be worth a lot of money one day. And I'm like, oh, grandma. You know, because, again, like I said earlier in this video, there's 100,000 fucking people doing the exact same thing on YouTube. Just a bunch of dudes my age all talking about the same shit. You know, sometime in the year 2010s, YouTube became a nuclear arms race of bad movies, and I can only deal with so much cynicism, you know, and so, like, there's guys out there who are funnier and better and smarter, doing way better content than me. So, like, when somebody says, oh, can you sign this? I just go, like, you don't want that. Like, I appreciate you saying that to stroke me off here, but, like, you don't want that. So it's weird for me, and Metz and Fallon were like, shut up, you know, and I'll do it. It's not a problem. I have no problem with it. I was just like, you know, you don't have to ask me just to be nice, like, because I know that in the grand scheme of things, I'm a fucking dude who district manages movie theaters, and and comes up with pun titles for horror movies he's probably never gonna make. Like, that's who I am. I'm a cat dad, is what I am. But that was cool for people to ask questions and knew a little bit about the stuff that we did, and to ask for me to sign things. It's always neat and weird. One guy wanted me to sign a thing from my old show. I said no. Instead, I gave him a poster for something that I am doing now, because I just felt like, you know, they don't want to be reminded of me over there. And if that dude posted online anywhere, I think it would just be shitty for those dudes over there. And I'm just trying to do my thing over here. And it's best to just kind of continue to widen the gap between those things. But I gave him a poster for something else and signed it and just said, you know. But then again, he didn't know I wasn't on it anymore. And that's been almost 3 years. So I don't know what that says about viewership. But I was excited that anybody remembers me. I'm excited when anybody wants to talk movies with. I'm excited when anybody wants to talk to me in general, you know. But that was Sherma Con. This coming weekend is Monster Fest Mania, and I'm sure we'll have some good videos, because I have very little doubt that that Metz and Madeline will be up to all manner of no good, and I'll be stuck in the middle, just trying to control the chaos. But like I said, Grave Reviews, check them out on YouTube. The Hope series, check that out as well. Sherman Theater, thank you so very much for inviting us. Metz and Fallon, thank you so much for coming and hanging out with me. Everybody who came to see us, thank you. Anybody who's watching this, thank you. Anybody who's not watching this, thank you. I don't know. First video on my new phone. I'll talk to you guys later.